What is up, guys? So Sports back in with another video. And in today's video, I'm going to be redrafting the 2018 NBA draft, but I'm just going to be doing the lottery. This draft is could potentially be an historic draft. I mean, we see guys like Luka Doncic and Trae Young have already established themselves as amazing players at their respective positions. You also got some nice players like Colin Sexton, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Jaren Jackson Jr., and DeAndre Ayton, who I believe will all be multi-time All-Stars, potentially even multi-time All-NBA players in their careers. But all in all, this draft was fantastic. I'm really excited to see what these players do in the upcoming years as they, grow older, get more accustomed to the NBA. But with that being said, we're just going to get right into it. So, as I said, I'm going to do the lottery only. I didn't really want to do all 30 teams because, some of these players that were drafted, do we really want to be talking about Zaire Smith and Troy Bell Jr.? No disrespect to them, but I just feel like, there's better players that, we could discuss. But either or, let's just get straight into it. So the first pick, I think we all know who's going to get picked first by the Phoenix Suns. Luka Doncic. I just want to talk on this for a second. I don't really understand why the Suns did not take Luka, considering that at the time when the Suns were picking here, they did have Luka's former head coach. It just, the fit just made sense. I understand, you have Devin Booker. You don't want to have another ball-dominant player, but still, you take talent over fit. Especially a guy like DeAndre Hunter. Now, look, I like DeAndre Hunter. I think he'll be a very good NBA player in his career. But you take an athletic center who cannot space the floor in this day and age, in this era, at number one over... obviously we did not know what Luke would become, but still, even at the time, I understand it. DeAndre Ayton, was coming off an amazing college season, but still, I just feel like you definitely probably should have went Luka here, but they didn't. All in all, it's cool or whatever. I think DeAndre Hunter will still be great, but obviously he'll be no Luka. But either way, Luka Doncic is number one overall. Number two, the Sacramento Kings. Now, there are a couple different directions that I thought the Kings could go right here, but I see them taking Jaren Jackson Jr., which I think that makes a lot of sense, of course, considering that he's played really well for the Memphis Grizzlies. Marvin Bagley hasn't been the best. He's been good, but Jaren Jackson Jr. has been a lot better. He's probably better defensively, can space the floor better, even though Jaren Jackson Jr. has kind of an orthodox shot. He looks like he's throwing the ball into the hoop instead of shooting it. I don't know, but either way, Jaren Jackson Jr. has been great for the Grizzlies. That pairing of him and Josh should lead them to hopefully great heights, for many years to come. But either way, second overall, you're pairing up Jaren Jackson Jr. with another great young point guard in De'Aaron Fox. I don't think they had Buddy Hield at the time. Actually, yes, they did, because that was when they traded for Buddy from the Pelicans. But yeah, that's a pretty good young core. I don't even know if you count Buddy Hield as young. I think he's 27 at this point. But either way, pretty good pick for them. Moving on to number three, the Hawks. They get the guy who they have right now, Trae Young. I think it's pretty obvious. Trae Young has been amazing so far for them. The Hawks have a really good young core forming. In a few years, they could definitely be a powerhouse team. Is there really much to talk about this? Of course, Trae Young, it makes perfect sense. Going three, I guess you could discuss maybe if you were the Kings in this position, would you take, talent over fit? A backcourt of Trae Young and De'Aaron Fox could be good. You could form a Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum type thing, but I don't know how that would work considering that, Trae Young is extremely ball dominant. He draws comparisons to Stephen Curry, but I don't think he's as good off the ball as Stephen Curry is. So, I don't know. That is an interesting topic. That is an interesting topic to talk about. Either way, though, number three. I should add, I will be making these selections, considering what the team might need and from that specific position. So, of course, this draft is based off what we know now, but I'm going back in time to 2017. I'll give you an example when I get to it. But either way. Moving on, number four, the Memphis Grizzlies. We're gonna have them take, of course, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I think that's so this is a perfect example right here. In a redraft, obviously knowing what we know now, would they take Ayton, considering the fact that they traded Marc Gasol half a season after, or half a season into the new season, and they traded him for Jonas Valanciunas? Would they take Ayton, considering that they were already gonna replace Marc Gasol? Then again, in 2018, we don't know that. So that's what I'm trying to, make the comparison, I guess, right there. Either way, Shai is a really good selection right here. pairing him alongside Mike Conley, who at the time was the point guard, and Marc Gasol. And if they still want to end up, rebuilding, they could still, potentially end up with the number 2 overall pick and select Ja. Having Ja and Shea as your backcourt with Jonas Valanciunas, who you traded for. Maybe you still get Brandon Clark, and then you still have Dylan Brooks. We know Shea can move out to that 3, the small forward position. He has played at times for the Memphis Grizzlies. Still a very, very, very good young core either way. But moving on, we are on to the number 5 overall pick in this draft. And for the Dallas Mavericks, they're just going to go best player available here. I'm going to take DeAndre Ayton. Pretty self-explanatory. I mean, at this time, did they have DeAndre Jordan? I don't know if they did, but either way, Jordan didn't really do anything for them. I mean, he didn't do much for them at all. You're getting your center piece of the future, and maybe you still trade for Kristaps Porzingis, forming a Twin Towers type of thing here. I don't know. Or maybe you don't, considering that you don't have Luka, so you don't have a surefire superstar. Ayton maybe has a little more time to, get accustomed to the NBA or whatever. But either way, number 5, DeAndre Ayton. Number 6, the Orlando Magic. I've been taking Colin Sexton. Going into this draft, they really needed a guard, and they didn't take one. They opted to take Mo Bamba, even though they already had Nikola Vucevic. And then last season, Vucevic turned into an all-star, which I don't think many people expected. So, yeah, that's really all I have to say about that pick. Colin Sexton, as you guys know, I'm a Cavs fan. I love Colin Sexton. That dude is a hard worker. He will not stop until he's just a go-getter. Like, oh my God, I just love that guy. He's turned himself into an efficient 20-point per game scorer this year. Obviously has to work on his playmaking, but I feel like people really, really, really underrated. It's not as bad as people make it out to be, honestly. Since the new year, I think he's been averaging at least 4 assists per game. So, either way, yeah. All right, we're going to take a break right here. But anyways, moving on to number 7, the Chicago Bulls. This might be a big one. Not a big one. A really, really risky one. I have them taking Michael Porter Jr. I just feel like I understand the injury concerns. He has, big concerns with that back, but still, his talent is unmatched. I just feel like the injury concerns that happen to these young prospects, I just feel they shouldn't fall as far as they do. Honestly, in my opinion, like, Ball, I feel like he shouldn't have fell to the 44th or whatever, like, it was like 44, 45th pick, because he had a leg injury. I understand it. But the same thing is here for, Michael Porter Jr. When you have, like, situations like this, you end up like the Clippers, passing up on Michael Porter Jr. for Jerome Robinson, which makes no sense at all. Whatever. Honestly, this is a big pick. Everybody knows the Bulls have been desperate for wings, and they've tried to get some. They traded for Otto Porter. That's been okay, I guess. Denzel Valentine they drafted a few years back. He's been okay. They still have guys like Chandler Hutchinson. You have Thaddeus Young, who signed last year. I don't know if you consider him a wing or a big. They tried. They just haven't really hit on one. And this could be a hit. Potentially Michael Porter Jr. I feel like the trajectory will still be the same. They try to ease him back in. But for the Nuggets, he's had some great games. They just have to unleash him. And I feel like on the Bulls, he would get unleashed. Hopefully the medical staff could do the same job that maybe the Nuggets have been doing, trying to keep him safe, making sure he doesn't aggravate that back or potentially risk injury. But either way, Michael Porter Jr. at 7, I like it. I feel like it fits great alongside Zach LaVine coming off his ACL injury. And yeah, you're still going to need a center now because you don't have Wendell Carter Jr. Either way, moving to number 8, the Cavs, my team. Who would we take right here? I think the obvious pick would be to go Marvin Bagley Jr. It just makes sense. I understand, you obviously have Kevin Love, but Kevin Love has been in trade discussions since he's got to Cleveland, So, I mean, I feel like he's on the move pretty soon, and you're rebuilding. Well, you were rebuilding. Well, you're rebuilding. Okay, you're rebuilding. Going to 2018, the mindset might have been different. Maybe you thought you'd make the playoffs, but still, you go talent over fit, 9 times out of 10 when you're in the position the Cavs were in at that particular spot. And maybe he'd do better on the Cavs. He'd have more freedom. There wouldn't be as many young guys. Were there even any young guys in 2000? There weren't even any young guys. There was like Colin Sexton and Jetty Osman. And then the Cavs were going out, picking up different players. And either way, going into the season, Kevin Love, he got injured. I think he only played like 8 games or something. Something very minuscule. in the 2018 season. So more opportunities for Marvin Bagley, which hopefully he could have, taken advantage of, but I mean, we'll never know. So either way, but yeah, at number 8, I have them taking Marvin Bagley. Pretty low from number 2, of course, but thinking of redraft, this kind of makes sense considering he's had injury problems and his play hasn't been all that crazy. He's mainly came off the bench for the Kings, but either way, number 8, Marvin Bagley Jr. Speed this up a little bit. Now we're going to number 9, the Knicks. Now this is where I'm at a crossroads because I feel like there are 2 players that they can select here, and I'm just gonna put both of their names, Wendell Carter Jr. or Mitchell Robinson. I feel like you probably couldn't go wrong with either. I feel like they kind of do the same thing. Both are athletic centers who can rim protect and have maybe I'll probably say Wendell Carter has more scoring potential than Mitchell Robinson, but either or, they'll probably be double machines in their primes with some really nice rim protecting skills. On the Charlotte Hornets, excuse me, not the Hornets, the Knicks. I'm looking ahead here, but either way, moving on to number 10, the Philadelphia 76ers. I have them taking Devontae Graham. They tried to get that point guard to surround that team with Markelle Fultz. Weren't really able to accomplish that. They traded him away. Not even, a couple of seasons into his career, he had injury problems. Devontae Graham, he's a sniper, and he can facilitate well, as we've seen this season. 2 things that the Sixers really need, He'd be that 3rd guy for them, or 4th guy. I don't know if they still trade for Tobias Harris or not, but he'd hopefully stop them from trying to go out and get Al Horford, and he'd add shooting. Shooting is what they're desperately in need of. So that move gets it. Either way, moving on to the Hornets, I'm going to put, Mitchell Robinson. They'll just take whichever one wasn't selected with the 9th overall pick by the Knicks, not the Nets. So I already talked about that there. Moving on, the Clippers have back-to-back picks right here. And the Clippers really could, do some great things with these picks. At 12, I'll just put Miles Bridges at number 13. It doesn't really matter, whichever one goes first. They have back-to-back picks either way. At the time, I think they had, did they have Blake Griffin? I'm pretty sure they had Blake Griffin going into this season, and then they ended up trading him for Tobias at the mid-season mark. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, they did that. Either way, does this move still get made? Probably. They probably still trade Blake, and then you're stuck with Tobias, who, was up for an extension after the next season. So where we are now. So you probably still take Miles to be your small forward of the future. A wing who, when you had Blake during that Lob City era, you were really looking for a wing. You weren't able to find one, but either way, you get one here for the future. And then Mo Bamba, of course, you moved on from I cannot talk. I'm so sorry. You moved on from the DeAndre Jordan era, if there even was an era for DeAndre Jordan, and you get yourself Mo Bamba, another athletic center who's pretty good at rim protecting. And yeah, he's going to get much more opportunity here in Los Angeles, considering at the time their centers were, I think, Zubac and Mo, what's his name? Marcin Gortat and Bojan, Marjanovic. Their centers weren't good at this time, but either way, good selection. They still have Montrezl Harrell too, but he wasn't the Montrezl Harrell we know right now, and he'd probably still be coming off the bench either way. So moving on, the last pick in the lottery, the Denver Nuggets. This is a pick that, I thought they could go a multitude of ways. You have like Dante DiVincenzo, Landry Shamet, what's his name? Mikal Bridges. You have a lot of, pieces here that you could go with. Personally, I went Mikal Bridges for them, just because I feel like at this point in time, when you have to think back, from what they're looking for in this draft. At this point in time, Gary Harris was coming off a season where he averaged, I think, nearly, 18 points per game or something crazy? And he shot extremely well from 3. So going into this 2018 year, or 2019 season, they're thinking he's probably going to take another step. So that shooting guard position is already, kind of locked. Then you have Jamal Murray, point guard position is pretty much locked. You had Jokic, Paul Millsap. All they needed really was a wing. And you get that with Mikal Bridges, who's a good 3-and-D guy. I know his shot is a little unorthodox, but that's something that you can definitely fix. And it'd be a great young core for the future, So, yeah, that's it. This is my, redraft of the 2018 NBA draft. After this pick, I think the Wizards pick 15th or something. You know, that's when you got like Dante DiVincenzo, Landry Shamet, those guys, Anthony Simons too. Just trying to think, Kevin Herter, him also. So either way, I mean, it was a pretty good draft. Let me know how I did on my redraft. Which one? What would you change? You know, who would you move up? Who would you move down or whatever? But that's gonna do it for this video, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy. Please like and sub and share with friends. And it's So Sports, and I'm out. Peace.